The last leaf. In a small artist colony in Greenwich Village, two young women, Sue and Johnsy, shared a modest studio. They had met in the summer and quickly became friends, both aspiring painters with dreams of creating art that would one day be displayed in grand galleries. Life in the colony was not easy, but they found joy in their shared passion and the camaraderie of the artistic community surrounding them. As autumn arrived, a harsh chill settled over the city, and an outbreak of pneumonia spread through the neighborhood. Johnsy, delicate and frail, fell ill. She lay motionless in her bed, staring out the window at an old ivy vine clinging to the brick wall of the adjacent building. The doctor, after examining her, gave Sue a grave prognosis. "She has very little chance of recovery unless she finds the will to live," he said. "Without hope, even medicine will not help." Sue, deeply worried, tried her best to uplift Johnsy's spirits, but her friend remained despondent. One cold afternoon, as Sue worked on a sketch, she noticed Johnsy murmuring softly, counting something under her breath. Following her gaze, Sue realized that Johnsy was watching the ivy leaves outside, fluttering in the wind. "What are you counting, dear?" Sue asked gently. "The leaves," Johnsy whispered weakly. "When the last one falls, I will go too. I have known it for days. Didn't the doctor say I have no chance?" Sue was heartbroken by her friend's despair. "That's nonsense," she said, forcing a smile. "The doctor said you need to keep your hopes up. Stop looking at those leaves and rest." But Johnsy refused to listen. "I want to see the last leaf fall. Then I will know it's time." Sue decided she needed help. She went downstairs to speak with their neighbor, Behrman, an old painter who had lived in the building for years. Behrman was a gruff but kind-hearted man who often spoke of painting a masterpiece one day, though he had never actually done so. He earned a living as a model for younger artists and occasionally drank more than he should. But beneath his rough exterior, he cared deeply for Sue and Johnsy. "She's dying," Sue told him, her voice breaking. "She thinks that when the last leaf falls, she'll die too. How can we make her see sense?" Behrman grumbled, but his eyes softened with concern. "Foolishness," he muttered. "A girl so young, giving up like that. I will come up and see her." That evening, as a bitter storm raged outside, Sue and Behrman watched over the sleeping Johnsy. The wind howled, and the rain pounded against the window. They glanced at the ivy vine, which was now nearly bare. Only a few leaves clung desperately to the fragile branches. The next morning, as dawn broke, Johnsy woke up and immediately turned toward the window. Sue hesitated before opening the curtains, afraid of what her friend might see. But there, against all odds, a single ivy leaf remained, defiantly holding onto the vine despite the storm. Johnsy gasped. "It's still there. The last leaf." Something stirred in her heart. If the last leaf could endure such a terrible storm, perhaps she could too. A flicker of determination appeared in her eyes for the first time in days. Sue, noticing the change, encouraged her. "Yes, it's still there, Johnsy. And you must stay, too." By midday, Johnsy had requested food. By evening, she had asked for a mirror to see herself. The doctor, upon his return, noticed the improvement. "She has turned a corner," he said. "She will recover." Sue was overjoyed. She rushed downstairs to share the good news, but the moment she stepped into Behrman's apartment, she froze. The old painter lay sick in his bed, burning with fever. His clothes were soaked, his boots covered in mud. He had been found that morning, shivering in his room, his body weakened by pneumonia. 2 days later, Behrman passed away. It was then that Sue discovered the truth. The last leaf, the one that had inspired Johnsy to fight for her life, was not a real leaf at all. Behrman had painted it on the brick wall during the stormy night, braving the cold rain to create his final masterpiece. He had sacrificed his own health to give Johnsy hope. When Johnsy learned what he had done, tears streamed down her face. "Oh, Sue," she whispered, "I have been so selfish. That leaf was Behrman's masterpiece. And he painted it so I could live." From that moment on, Johnsy resolved to recover, not just for herself but to honor Behrman's sacrifice. She regained her strength, and with Sue by her side, she continued to pursue her dreams of painting. And though Behrman was gone, his final act of love and kindness remained, immortalized on the brick wall outside their window. The last leaf had fallen, but not in vain. The end.